So it's going to get tougher and tougher for you to get a bottle of Louis Vuitton's Sun Song. You guys have been asking me to do a alternatives video, which is what I'm doing today. But recently I was at the Louis Vuitton boutique previewing the new City of Stars fragrance, launching very soon. In fact, it should be launched by the time I air this video. In the same collection as well, and Louis Vuitton boutique told me they have no refills left of Sun Song and only a few bottles of the fragrance left. Only a few, which means it probably already sold out by now. So in today's video, what I'm going to offer for you guys are alternatives to Sun Song, a citrus floral fragrance. It's really delicious. It's a great freshie, all very floral and all very citrusy. I know there are fans of this one. In fact, when I went in to buy the 3 initial launch of the California themed fragrances, or the colognes they call them, this was the one I really resonated towards or gravitated towards, along with Afternoon Swim and Cactus Garden. But eventually, Afternoon Swim became my favorite. But still, this is a great fragrance, and I know there are fans of it out there. And so, as I said, you guys have been requesting me to do an alternatives video. So that's what I'm doing for you today. So stick around to find out some awesome 15 alternatives to Sun Song. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about Louis Vuitton's Sun Song and alternatives to this fragrance. This fragrance is pretty simplistic. It's a citrus, aromatic, musky citrus floral fragrance. So it's featuring notes of citron, orange blossom, and musk. So not overly complex. In fact, the fragrances in this collection are not really complex. And I wonder if that's why that this particular fragrance, along with Cactus Garden, got discontinued. Now, I have a backup bottle of this in this size, but I did not get a bottle of Cactus Garden, so I'm halfway through with that particular fragrance, and it is going to get tougher and tougher. Are there any fans of Cactus Garden, and are there any fans of Sun Song? Let me know. But this is a great, you know, citrus floral, you know, like an eau de cologne style, citrus aromatic, citrus floral kind of fragrance. It's a great type of a fragrance to wear when it's really, really warm outside, or when you want that kind of burst of, you know, invigorating, fresh, citrusy sunshine kind of in a bottle. That's why it's called Sun Song. So I'll let you know what the fragrances are. Before I do, though, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So let me know if you like this particular style of fragrance. I think, to me, it does hint at traditional eau de cologne style fragrances, but you know, some of these fragrances that I'm going to offer up might have some twists to the experience and some more depth to it. But I think the Sun Song was fairly not very complex, so fairly easy to wear. But we're going to go ahead and get started with the first fragrance, going to the house of BYREDO. It's SUNDAZED, this one right here. This particular fragrance is once again a take on that eau de cologne style with the citrus florals, and then the citruses in addition to the florals. So I would call this a sweet floral, fresh citrus fragrance with Neroli, Jasmine, Sambac, cotton candy, mandarin orange, lemon, white musk. Most of these are going to have this musky note. It's clean musk though, and they're going to be perfect like that. And I like to wear these kind of fragrances when it's really hot outside. You know, when you get sweaty, you feel kind of dirty. I do. I don't know about you guys, but sweat makes me feel dirty. So putting these kind of fragrances on, if you can't go to the shower and take a shower, does have a kind of a clean, like you're taking like a temporary shower kind of a thing experience. But I like this. There's that sweetness in here with the cotton candy, but it's lots of neroli. Orange blossom neroli, very similar. Same flower, different distillations, extraction processes. So they do have, you know, similar smells, but they can vary a little bit. But, you know, this one also features the Jasmine Sambac to add a little bit of more of a floral experience. But you know what? To me, neroli, orange blossom, and jasmine do have kind of similar smells. One, you know, they're white flowers to begin with, but they go in different directions, kind of a thing. Either way, first fragrance is BYREDO SUNDAZED. Check that out if you don't know it. Next, going to the house of NISHANE, it's COLOGNISE, this one right here. A great alternative, I think. It's a great smelling fragrance. I really love it. It's very fresh, very invigorating, very uplifting. These are definitely mood uplifters. So if you're kind of down, feeling kind of, you know, you need some happy, you know, some uplifting experience, like a happy smells kind of a thing. Because fragrances do put me in better mood when I smell them. And a lot of these citrus floral fragrances are going to do that with with you, especially if it's winter where you're at and you want some kind of like mood lifting, happiness thoughts and smells and things like that. Definitely try a lot of these fragrances. But COLOGNISE is a citrus aromatic green floral fragrance with bergamot, neroli, green tea, jasmine, lemon, grapefruit, lily of the valley, vetiver. It does have some woods, lots of flowers though. It does have green flowers. The lily of the valley definitely has a green vibe, but the neroli is in here, the citrus, bergamot is in the lemon. It's very, very invigorating, sparkling, kind of a fresh experience with, dashes and hints of green thrown in. So COLOGNISE from the house of NISHANE. It's a great, great, great fragrance. Next fragrance, going to the house of Costume National. This is J, this one right here. J is, another take on a citrus aromatic citrus floral fragrance. This is a fresh citrus woody floral fragrance with mandarin orange, neroli, orange blossom, cherry blossom, lime, rose, cashmere. There's some muskiness and woodiness in the dry down, but this one has lots of floral touches. It does have that cherry blossom as well. It does add a little light uniqueness, a twist in the fragrance. This also has rice as a note in the fragrance, so it does have some kind of light powdery touches that goes in along with the other notes, but it's a very, very fresh experience and it smells very, very uplifting and very, very refreshing. So Costume National J, great fragrance created by a perfumer by the name of Fanny Ball over at IFF. In fact, the next fragrance from the house of FREDERIC MALLE, GOSSE, is also created by her. They're different but similar, different kind of experiences, but the similar ballpark. You'll probably want to get samples or sample these in store so you can see which one is best for you. And I'm just saying these are alternatives. They're not going to be identical to Sunsong. Nothing will be unless it's a straight out clone, but these are great alternatives because they utilize some of the similar notes. But GOSSE is a fresh, spicy, citrus aromatic fragrance with neroli, petitgrain, bergamot, violet, rosemary, bubblegum. There is a kind of bubblegum kind of a note in here. It's a sweet kind of a candied, like gummy kind of a note, which takes the fragrance into a little different direction, but it's overall very similar to a lot of the other fragrances here. Just, that whole citrus floral thing. This one also has petitgrain, which is the leaves of the orange tree. Lots of citruses with the violet, a little aromatic spice from the rosemary. Then you have a great smelling fragrance here, GOSSE from the house of FREDERIC MALLE. And speaking of FREDERIC MALLE, this is Cologne Indelible. So FREDERIC MALLE has two similar style fragrances. They don't smell similar, but they're similar style. And they might hint at one another. So we've got the GOSSE I just spoke to you about, and then we have Cologne Indelible. Cologne Indelible is created by Dominique Rapillon. And this is a citrus aromatic green floral fragrance with neroli, orange blossom, musk, narcissus, bergamot, lemon. This is a really, really great smelling, deeper, more richer, more concentrated version of something like Neroli Portofino 4711. I have Neroli Portofino here as well. I'm going to talk to you about it in a little bit, but it's kind of that kind of a smell, like Eau de Cologne. 4711 is one that a lot of people are used to. It's very light. It's very, very, very light. Doesn't last a long time, but it's a great smell, kind of a thing. This to me is more of like a deeper version of that particular fragrance. So if you're familiar with that, you definitely know this one. And I think this is pretty much a very straightforward smelling, alternative to Sunsong from Louis Vuitton. But that's FREDERIC MALLE Cologne Indelible. Check that out. I think it smells really, really great. Going to a less expensive fragrance now, going to the house of Mugler. This is Cologne. And this particular one is the Come Together version. This is an Alberto Moria's creation. We've got three fragrances created by him. He does a lot of fragrances, but the original version came out in 2001. It was one of my favorite fragrances from Mugler. It still is, it's a great soapy kind of fragrance. In fact, I forgot to mention all of these do have a soapiness about them, which is great. But Cologne Come Together is fresh, spicy, citrus aromatic fragrance with neroli, orange blossom, petitgrain, bergamot, musk. And again, neroli, orange blossom, it's the same flower. It's just the way they do the extraction. One way is called neroli and one way is called orange blossom, although the orange blossom is actually the flower. So in the end, it's from the bitter orange tree, and then in this particular fragrance, you're also using the petitgrain, the leaves of the bitter orange tree. So it's like bringing that orange tree, the bitter orange tree, to life with a perfume, and it smells really, really great. This is Come Together, Mugler Cologne Come Together. A wonderful smelling fragrance. Moving on to the house of Commodity. This is NECTAR. We're going into a totally floral direction here. It's almost like taking the orange blossoms, picking them, you know, like pretend that there's juice in there. You're like extracting the juice and you're smelling it in the bottle, because this to me smells really like authentic orange blossom. If you've ever smelled it on the tree, it smells exactly like it. But this particular fragrance is sweet, spicy, citrus floral fragrance with neroli, orange blossom, honeysuckle, pomelo, musk, tangerine, bergamot, vetiver. Now, honeysuckles, if you've ever smelled them, there's definitely a sweet honeyed experience there. Here, it kind of takes on the effect of the honeyed experience. Like, it's almost like a sweet honeyed floral experience. And I think it's coming from the honeysuckle, which complements the neroli orange blossom perfectly here. And then they've thrown in the pomelo, kind of a grapefruity citrus experience, musk, tangerine, bergamot with a little grassy vetiver thrown in. It's amazing. This is a great fragrance. Smells amazing. It does remind me of Jo Malone's Orange Blossom, which I'm not featuring here today, but it does have little twists, and it's also stronger than the Orange Blossom from Jo Malone. So Nectar from the House of Commodity is smelling really, really great. And again, these are alternatives. They're not going to be identical dupes or clones or anything like that. Great alternatives, though. Moving on to the House of 8 and Bob, this is Champ de Provence, this one right here. Now, the Provence or Provençal area, the Provence area, is known for orange blossom, I think. It's also the capital of perfume in Grasse in the south of France. So it's a given that they would do a free, you know, fragrance called Champs de Provence, you know, focusing on the orange blossom note. And this is a really great smelling fragrance in the end. It smells really great and wears beautifully as well. It's a sweet, spicy, citrus floral fragrance with orange, bergamot, orange blossom, jasmine, mate, ambroxan, and musk. You know, this one, they only mention that it's orange blossom, but you also have the addition of jasmine. And again, I do get reminders of one another when I smell orange blossom and jasmine, and they do work really beautifully together. Jasmine is a little dirtier of a smell, and I think orange blossom is a little sweeter, so they do work beautifully together. And then they've thrown in the orange in this one, some greenness from the mate note, and then of course the ambroxan and musk in the base to kind of give it a little depth to the fragrance. Wonderful fragrance. This is Champs de Provence, or Champ de Provence, from the House of 8 and Bob. Now going over to the House of Atelier Cologne, this is Grand Neroli. So this particular fragrance, and I was mentioning also in a video yesterday of new fragrances launching. They do have a new Orange Blossom Neroli fragrance launching. Now I'm drawing a blank with the name. I'll flash a card with the name. I discussed it in the video yesterday. So this is, to me, like Atelier Cologne's version of 4711, if that makes sense. So kind of similar to Cologne Indelible, the Neroli Portofino, which a lot of people say Neroli Portofino is like a souped up version of 4711, which I could see, but it's not necessarily. It's a similar idea to me. But Grand Neroli is really great. It's a citrus aromatic green floral fragrance with neroli, with petitgrain, lemon, bergamot, musk, oak moss, galbanum. It's green floral because they've thrown in galbanum in here and also petitgrain. Those two notes come off very, very green to me. But it does have the oak moss here in the base, also the muskiness from the base, but everything else is very, very citrusy and smells fantastic. So Atelier Cologne Grand Neroli. I don't know how hard it's going to be for us to buy Atelier Cologne fragrances anymore now that they are moving out of the States. We'll see, but I do recommend that one. Moving on to the House of Tom Ford, this is Neroli Portofino here. A very popular fragrance. No wonder it's popular because they also have a lot of different related products in their stores. You know, they got the body sprays and other things. Even I think they have soap and things like that. And again, it is kind of like the 4711, but a more updated, beefed up version of it. I would call this a citrus aromatic, spicy floral fragrance with bergamot, orange blossom, neroli, jasmine, pittosporum, lemons, mandarin. If you ever have smelled pittosporum, we have a ton of trees here in San Francisco, and they bloom like 2 or 3 times a year. And every once in a while, I walk past them when they're blooming, and they smell fantastic. I don't really pick up pittosporum in this one. To me, it's mostly about the orange blossom neroli, and I do also pick up a little petitgrain. There's a greenness in there, but the smell is really, really great, but it does remind me of 4711. So it's the inspiration and the style, kind of a fragrance thing. Anyway, Neroli Portofino, I think it's very, very popular. It is a little pricey though, so check that out if you like the idea. Next up, Gucci's 1921, this one. So this is the second of 3 Alberto Moria's created fragrances. Of course, he created Come Together or Mugler Cologne, but Gucci's 1921 from the Alchemist Garden collection you know, it's fresh fragrance. Is it really worth the price of this collection? But it is done really, really well, you know? So you got to think, if it's something you can afford, you want to pay for it, it does come in a great looking bottle. But this is a citrus floral, fresh mossy fragrance with citron, neroli, lemon verbena, oak moss. So it does have that oak moss in the base and when it's drying down, but it's all very, very tart, citrusy up top, along with that sweet neroli floral, citrus floral experience. And then you've got this kind of a herbal lemon verbena note. I like this combination. It's a great combination. It's an aromatic experience also, but it's really, really great smelling. Just, it is on the pricey side, so check that out if you're curious. Go smell it so you can test it out rather than buying a full bottle, I think. Some of these are a little expensive, and some might not be as worth it as some of the other fragrances in the collection. So Gucci 1921, I think it's a solid release. Check it out. Alright, up next, going to the house of Healy. It's Oranges and Lemons Say the Bells of St. Clements. The longest name in fragrance history. Or is it? There's probably something out there longer. But it's one of the most beautiful smelling citrus neroli, citrus floral fragrances. I absolutely love the way this one smells. To me, this is a citrus floral, aromatic, spicy, lightly woody kind of a fragrance experience, but it features notes of neroli, petitgrain, tea, lemons, bergamot, orange, mandarin, vetiver. It's really, really delicious. Once again, I like that this has petitgrain. If you've ever smelled orange leaves, break it off the tree, cut it into half, and smell the inside. It's here. It's literally here. With the neroli, with the tea, with the lemons, with the bergamots, the orange, mandarin. It's so delicious. Healy Oranges and Lemons, Say the Bells of St. Clements, is a great scent. Check that out. Moving on to the house of Van Cleef and Arpels. This is Neroli Amara. It's a great creation from this house. This to me, but also it goes a little deeper. It's kind of lightly ambery under there. It features neroli, orange blossom, mandarin orange, cypress, bergamot, lemons, pink pepper, and white musk for one delicious experience. This is a very loved fragrance for me. I actually have a new bottle because the last bottle I finished up. I absolutely love wearing this particular fragrance because the smell is really, really beautiful. It is a very relaxing kind of a smell, and it's also very uplifting. You know, these notes are very, very uplifting. Like I was saying earlier, if you ever feel down, smell some of these fragrances. You'll be back in a good spirit and things like that. And the perfumer, has done a great job with Neroli Amara, Quinton Biche. I think it's one of my favorite creations of his. So Van Cleef & Arpels Neroli Amara, a great scent. And the next fragrance, going back to a creation by Alberto Morillas. This is Chopard Orange Moresque. So I've spoken about this once before, back in 2020 in the height of the pandemic. This to me kind of lightly goes into the direction, lightly, very, very lightly, reminding me of Love Don't Be Shy, but it's not like a Love Don't Be Shy alternative. The reason it does that is because it does have the ambery notes in the base, but Love Don't Be Shy is basically neroli, orange blossom, and the vanillic kind of sweet notes. But I would call this a citrus floral, fresh musky fragrance with orange blossom, bergamot, neroli, mandarin, benzoin, copaiba balm, ambroxan. So it's that benzoin that's kind of mixing and blending with the orange blossom and the neroli that's kind of giving me that light hint of something like, you know, Love Don't Be Shy. But this to me is a lot fresher. It's a lot more like a summertime fragrance. Starts off very fresh, eventually kind of dries down to a little ambery experience. So this is Orange Moresque from the House of Chopard. Check that out if you don't know it. And then finally, going to the house of Parfums de Nicolai, it's Cap Neroli. Cap Neroli, and then there's also an intense version of this called Neroli Intense. I'm going to talk about Cap Neroli. I actually had reviewed it off of the tiny little 30 ml bottle, like back in 2018 or something, 2017 even. But I finished that. I finally bought a new bottle from ZGO Perfumery with my discount code. And you know, this is a great fragrance to wear in the summertime. Hot, hot days, spray this stuff on liberally and it smells fantastic. The Neroli Intense, in comparison to Cap Neroli, is also deeper and a little amberier and doesn't smell like Love Don't Be Shy or anything like that, but it does have a lot of more depth to it. This is a lot fresher, thinner, but perfect for liberally spraying in the hot days. So I would call this a citrus aromatic floral green fragrance with neroli, orange blossom, petitgrain, rosemary, orange, mint, mandarin, jasmine, hedione. delicious fragrance. This is a great house. It's an underhyped house. Not a lot of people talk about it. They make great fragrances, although some of the fragrances do have a classic touch to it. The perfumer behind it is Patricia Nicolai, who I have a video on the channel with her. She is a relative of the Guerlain family, so she started her own perfume house, and she does great fragrances. So this is Cap Neroli from the House of Parfums. The Nicolai, or Nicolai Creator Parfumer, is another name that they use for their fragrances. And that's the 15 fragrances that are great alternatives to Louis Vuitton's Sun Song. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about these discontinuations? If you haven't caught that video I did about the discontinuations along with the anticipation of City of Stars, please go catch it. City of Stars should be in my hands by the time this video airs. But they discontinued Sun Song, Cactus Garden, Au Hasard, and also Contre Moi. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get those fragrances, but as soon as I mean, what am I saying is, like, you should definitely try and get it before they completely sell out. As I said, the refills are completely done of these at the Louis Vuitton boutique here in San Francisco, and my sales associate said also there's only a few bottles left. So I do have my backup bottle, but I did not get a backup bottle of Cactus Garden, so I don't care about that one as much, but maybe you do. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on these alternatives to Sun Song. Do you like these fragrances? Do you enjoy them? And let me know if you have any other alternatives to Sun Song. Put a comment down so I can find out. Either way, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, I have one more alternative, but you know what? This is a cheapie. You can get it for about 35 bucks. I have a link to Fragrance X in the info box. Buy it from there, and it'll probably be a great alternative. Although to me, it's a little more synthetic, but still, I think it does the job. I actually reviewed this on the channel and did mention in my review that this is a great alternative to Louis Vuitton's Sun Song. This is a celebrity fragrance, sadly. It's Thalia Sodi Liquid Sun. Look at the bottles, they even look a little similar. To me, they do remind me of one another, although the Thalia Sodi Liquid Sun does go into a little beachy direction, but still, you know, I think it's a very close and a great alternative for a very cheap alternative. So Neroli, Mandarin leaf, frangipani, solar notes, orange blossom, coconut, peony, musk. And it's mostly that experience, but because it has the frangipani leaf, it has the solar notes, it has the coconut, you're getting a little bit of a beachy, sunshiny, kind of a sunny experience. But lots of Neroli here, and the Mandarin leaf, which is the Petitgrain type note, basically kind of that bitter green woody earthiness, and then you've got also orange blossom in here, so it's mostly that, but there's all that kind of beachy stuff happening in the background as well. I think it would be a great alternative. It is a less expensive fragrance, but you can get it for about 35 bucks, and I think it won't break the bank. Anyway, great alternative for really inexpensive. This is Thalia Sodi Liquid Sun, and that's the bonus fragrance for you guys. Thanks so much for watching today. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Bye bye.